Hello, my loves. It's G here with Going to Bed Tarot, and I'm here to bring you another channeled message. I hope this message is finding you blessed and full of abundance. Y'all, I started doing this message, and then I really had to stop and pray. Okay, I really had to stop and pray because I just felt guided to. And so, for some of you, you might feel guided to do that, or whatever your version of connecting with higher energy. If it's calling in higher vibrational energy, if it's meditating, if it's prayer, if it's connected with your like your peace and love and light ancestors. And Spirit kept telling me over and over again to really make sure in my prayers that I was emphasizing connecting to spirits, angels, guides, things like that that are raising my vibration. So for some of you, you might really be asking to have a lot of discernment right now. And I don't say this to bring any kind of paranoia or fear or anything like that, but just, have some discernment around you. Okay. Especially in like messages, whether they be something that you're receiving in your dream. Oh no, not. It's really like messages that people, whether they be friends, family, strangers, somebody could be saying something to you or send you a message, and it feels like some type of temptation energy, and it really feels like it really is that type of energy where it's like when dark spirits can't get to you or can't bring you down or you're being protected, they might try to get to you through people that might not have as much protection around them or might not be as openly aware. That includes media, stuff that you see online, the news, media that you might consume, content that you might consume, okay? And I'm not saying that these people are evil or mean or, meant to bring down your vibration, but you never know who's being influenced by what, okay? And so, yeah. Spirit is saying that some of you need to be very cautious about who you choose to consume your spiritual content from, and especially people who are pushing certain spiritual beliefs and concepts, and I will always encourage you guys to look at that distant horizon. Yeah, it could be somebody from a distance, or it definitely is this kind of feeling of like you're trying to fly, you're trying to elevate, and like there's an anchor here, like someone's trying to anchor you down, weigh you down. Yeah. Unexpected income. Yeah. Now, and for this, I'm not really necessarily thinking like money. So I'm not trying to make you like turn away any kind of blessings or anything like that. However, if you know there is a trifling, no good, tries to manipulate you financially, emotionally person who is offering you assistance, specifically financial assistance, okay? It might not just be your pride or your ego that's telling you to not take that money or to not take that assistance or to not take that phone call or to not offer that assistance to that person, because you really could have a person that's just like, girl or boy or whoever, he, she, they, darling, that this person is trifling. Like, that they're no good. That anytime they come into your life, they always bring no good, very bad, trifling ass energy to you. So what you doing? So what are you doing? Hold on just one second. Sorry about that. Yeah. So this person, mature woman here on the back of the deck, this person could be an older feminine person or an older person who operates in feminine energy. They don't have to be old, or older, elderly. They could just be older than you. Ooh, Lord have mercy. Great fortune. Yeah, because I'm getting 27 and 26. This person is trying to pull you backwards. They're trying to pull you backwards into something. 433. They're trying to pull you backwards, and it's 747 down on the real time clock. This person is trying to pull you backwards. Like, your spirit guides are trying to get you to elevate and to do better. And this person is like a temptation to walk backward. They are. And I'm hearing detach. But I'm also hearing detach from your expectations. Okay. Yeah, the Lovers. This person is going to offer you a choice. This person might give you some kind of ultimatum. Some type of, if you ever want my help again, you have to, and then they're going to say, you got to give up something. And it's going to be something that you know in every part of your soul that has been guiding you towards elevating. You know, it might be like, oh, you got to give up this new spirituality. You got to give up, talking to your spirit guides. You got to give up watching tarot, or you got to give up doing something. Now, of course, we always want to have a balance in things. We always want to know when our spirit guides or when people around us might be trying to tell us, hey, you might be watching that a little too much, or you might be spending a little too much time, or too much energy, or too much, you have some kind of obsession or something. And I'm not saying that you do. I'm just saying, like, we have to have some self-awareness about us. Now, if you know that you're spending all day, every day watching tarot readings, or you know that you're spending all day, every day doing whatever, you know what it is. But if you know that you are called to do something for your mission, if you know that in your spirit is telling you, yes, go do this thing, go do this profession, or go to this meeting for this, or yes, read up on this, study on this, and you have somebody in your life that you know, because my spirit guides are telling me that okay, you know who the person is. So it's not, who I'm talking about. If you know who I'm talking about. Okay? If this is happening to you, the person. You know who they are. They're always the one pulling you down. They're always the one placing fear on your heart. They're always the one putting doubt in your mind. They're always the one telling you need to get down. You don't need to shine so bright. You don't need to be so beautiful. Oh, girl, that's just not your color. Whatever. Right? You know who I'm talking about. Okay? And this person could either be in some kind of perceived position above you, or they might actually have some type. This could be a boss for some of you. This could be a mother. It could be a grandmother. It could be an aunt, or a person like a matriarchal figure in your community or on your block or whoever. And for some of you, it's giving me that person that really, they always give you this advice, and it always comes across like, I'm just doing this because I love you. I just don't want to see you fail. I just don't want to see you get your hopes up and then you get smashed. And it's like, what? It's like, well, I have to put myself out there. I have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable sometimes, because I have to push myself outside of my comfort zone, Like, sometimes you have to have like this healthy discomfort sometimes, right? Where you're pushing yourself to try something new, where you're pushing yourself out there, where you're trying something new, where you're doing something, and you're not doing it out of desperation. You're really doing it out of a place where you're like, I really want to change in my life, and I think that this will help me. Now, I'm not talking about if you're going through some kind of absolute world-changing crisis, and you think that cutting your hair and dyeing it blonde is going to change everything, and everything's going to go right in the world if you get this pixie cut. Girl, that's not what I'm talking about. So your friend that's telling you, girl, I don't know about that. She might not, and normally, she's on your side. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. So there is this feeling of like grasping at straws, but it could be, I feel there's some kind of desperation coming from this person's energy. They're desperate. Now, they really might not come off it. You might never have ever thought in your mind this person is desperate. But there is something energetically about this person that is desperate. That is desperate to hold you down. That is desperate to hold you back. That is desperate to keep their claws in you. To keep some kind of control over whatever they feel like they have control over in your life. Gift. I'm not getting good vibes off of that. Yeah. For the tarot, we have the after tarot here, and it's the 9 of Wands. I almost said 9 of Pentacles. This person, they don't like to see you independent. They like to see you struggling. They like to see you be the wounded warrior. constantly getting kicked down. They like to see you in a position where you are constantly having to learn lessons, constantly not learning your lesson, and constantly having to redo cycles over and over and over again, giving them 1,000 different chances to hurt your feelings, giving them whatever it is, This is that person that's convincing you to stay with the person you know is toxic. This is the parent telling you, no matter how miserable you are, you can't give up that job. Times are so rough right now. Excuse me. This is that person's like, I swear, baby, I swear I love you so much if you just give me another chance. It's kind of like that. But it's given me some kind of feeling of like this person is removed from you. Like you've tried to move on, or you're blocking them, or you're walking away from them. Yeah, now they're showing me the 8 of Cups in my mind's eye. Yeah. But this person, they like to stand beside you as long as you're doing bad. Or as long as you're not doing as better than them, or better, once you start really taking steps forward and getting out of struggle, this person is like nowhere to be seen. But if you are in the midst of some kind of chaos and struggle, this person is there. And the thing about it is you think, oh my gosh, like this person, when I'm really, really down bad, this person is here offering me things, offering to pay for things. But there's something here about, and like I said, I don't necessarily think that this person is malicious or that they're evil or they're bad, but I think this person likes to surround themselves with people that they feel better than, that they feel like they can help, that they feel like they're helping. They on their own self, in their own psychology, they're trapped in some kind of victim, persecutor, rescuer kind of complex. And you might bounce back and forth in some kind of codependent cycle with this person where at some point there's some, like one of you might be the persecutor of each other. You might get in a fight. You might argue. And then one's going to come back and people please. And oh, I'm sorry. And you're going to give that person another chance. Then it's the other person. And this is that person that's like, so I don't know. Sometimes I'm imbalanced. Sometimes I'm crazy. Sometimes I snap, sometimes I can be a bit, and this person, they always forgive me. They always enable me is what's really happening. And it can feel comforting to be with a person that's like, I see you're bad and I accept that. But the issue is that this person is not a real friend. Or it's not a real person that really loves you. Because a person that really loves you is like, I see that you've done bad and I can accept that about you. However, I'm going to expect you to do better. And if you keep showing me that you're not going to do better, then you're crossing my boundaries. Then I have to have enough respect for myself to say, no. This is unhealthy. I'm not going to continue to enable your bad behavior. And as much as it might hurt to have people around us that hold us accountable or hold us to task, that inspires growth. That inspires change. That inspires understanding. Inner standing, like going inside, reflecting inside of yourself, being like, damn, maybe I need to grow the F up and not deal with this stuff anymore. Maybe I need to not be that person. And this is that person that really enables you to stay in those toxic behaviors. These are those people that you have, or that person that you have those conversations with when you talk about toxic past behaviors and they're constantly making excuses for it. And as much as it might have for a long time in your life felt comfortable to have that person that was like, yeah, sometimes you're a dog. Yeah, sometimes you cheat, or sometimes you yell, or sometimes you scream, or sometimes you go off the rails. And they keep taking you back every time. And then sometimes they go off the rail and you keep taking them back every time. But the honest truth is, you are stuck in a cycle of both of y'all sitting there trying to teach each other the same lesson, and neither one of y'all want to move on. Neither one of y'all want to move on. And it really, Spirit is putting on my mind a conversation that I had with 2 people not too long ago. And she was telling us a story about a man that's in her life. And about how at one point they were dating and they broke up. And she could admit to herself that she pushed him away. That she was like, no, this is not going to work. You need to get, no, you need to get out. And she even sat there and admitted to herself, I knew that I was pushing him away because I wanted him to chase after me. He's a person who is in toxic masculinity and never cries and doesn't show emotion and was taught from a very young age not to show emotion. And I wanted to see him cry. Like, I wanted to see him show me that he cared about me and that he would chase after me, even though I was pushing him away, even though I didn't want to give him space, and he was like, oh, you don't want to be with me? Okay, I'm going to let you go. And she said she went and sat out in the car outside his house and just sat there. Like, I can't believe he's not coming out and chasing and running after me. And I expressed, I was like, but he was showing you respect. You were telling him, I don't want you. I don't want to be with you. We're not right for each other. And then he said, okay. And she said, yeah, that's what he said. He said, anyway, and so we started having this conversation about that. And I was just like, and it's reminding me of that situation, because this is a person like that who might come to you and talk about their love life, or might come to you and talk about their family life. And you can see that this person is doing these type of push and pull kind of antics with people, that of course, that person is stuck in their own type of karmic cycle. They're stuck in their own type of, there's a reason people do testing and stuff like that. It's because they haven't had healthy relationships married to them, so they think, or they have some type of insecurity inside of them that makes them want to test that person. And even though they like that person, they want to push them away, then pull them closer, then push them away and pull them closer, put them to test. And I understand this because I've done the same thing. I have done the same thing. I've put people through tests. I've, oh, I'm crazy. And, and some of it is just being at a younger age. Some of it is just you live and you learn and you grow. And you learn that shit's toxic, But for some of you, you are in some kind of dynamic here with a person or with a group of people or with a family or with a belief system inside of yourself, or, that's being married back to you, where this person and you, or you and this group or whoever, this dynamic here is marrying to you this codependency of, I put up with my shit, you put up, I put up with your shit, you put up with my shit. I put up with your shit, you put up with my shit, You do some things that I think are toxic and I let it slide. And I do some things that you think are toxic and you let it slide. And neither one of us are really holding our feet to task and saying, hey, like, we should both be trying to do better. And that doesn't mean that there isn't growth possibilities in whatever this dynamic is. However, Spirit is asking you, like with that mature woman, they're asking you to step into a higher vibration. You could definitely be being asked to step into a higher vibration, with another person, where it's like, hey, there's a soulmate group, or there's a like a family soulmate group, or there is like a work environment or something that's so much healthier than what you're used to. But you have to overcome this test within yourself of thinking like that's what defines real friendship, or that's what defines real family. Blood is thicker than water. No matter what they do, I'm going to stand beside them, even when they're doing toxic things that hurt each other. And right, and that doesn't mean that you're a bad person, or that they're bad people, or whatever, or that person is a bad person. But what it does mean is that Spirit is pushing this in front of you and is bringing it up to your forethought to say, this is a part of your shadow that you need to be aware of. You really have a tendency of liking to hang around people that tolerate you being in this kind of mindset. And when you are put in environments where you are put to people who don't, that might hold you to task for that, you might fall back. Right? You might be like, oh, that group of people, or that person was so uppity, and they called me on my BS. And it's like, well, isn't that the kind of person that you want in your life? Isn't that the type of, like, of course you don't want a person that's just on your, out on your ass 24 hours a day, do better, but you do want a person, right, that's like, hey, it was kind of messed up you said that, right? You were in the wrong for saying that, right? They might not call you out in front of people, but when it's just the two of y'all, it's like, hey, let me talk to you. It's like, hey, you're not doing right by this person, and you should. Or, you know, you're not doing right by yourself. And I know you can do better. I know that you can hold yourself to a higher caliber. And Spirit is really putting that on you right now to say, hey, examine some of this energy within yourself. Okay? Because you feel really comfortable being around people. And the Spirit is saying, like, it might be easy to call this other person out on their toxicity, or to say, like, this person does this and I really don't like it. That person says this and I really don't like it. Well, understand that there's probably things that aren't necessarily the most evolved version of yourself that you could be, that this person also kind of just looks to the side and kind of just brushes over, right? But that keeps you in some type of state of not holding you accountable, not holding your lessons, Temperance. And Spirit is saying this is creating some type of, like, you need to harmonize and balance, bring some light to this aspect of your shadow, you know? Especially if you are trying to transition over into healthy, loving, high vibrational, grown ass people relationships in your life, professional relationships that stay professional, you know, romantic relationships that are healthy, friendship, family situations that feel healthy. This is part of your shadow that you need to understand about yourself, right? Or that you need to see within yourself, is that you kind of really like people who don't call you out on your ish sometimes. I get it. I really do. Oh, Lord. Yeah. We have the Eight of Pentacles, the Tower card, and the Ten of Cups. You're really on a journey here to find this level of wish fulfillment that you've really been looking for. This level of kinship that you've really been looking for. This level of, like, being around people who really are that elevated soul family kind of energy, right? But that means we got to put in the work on ourselves, right? That sometimes we really have to put in that work, and it's going to cause, like, some kind of tower moments. When this tower is being hit and it's crumbling and it's falling, that means that some things are, you know, you're going to have to let go of some things within yourself. This tower, it crumbles so that, again, we can see that this foundation is not so good. Pathway. Come on now. The pathway to transformation. This is a type of energy inside yourself that Spirit is pushing you to slay. Or to integrate, or to understand and have an understanding of this part of your shadow. You know, and this, again, like I said, this is like, going back to the very beginning of the message that I said, this is that message where it's like, you might have some people that are giving you a type of message that might not be in alignment with your spiritual elevation. You're getting some of those people that are like, oh no, it's fine, have another drink. Oh no, it's fine, do this. Oh no, it's fine. You know, these are the people who are going along with your addictions, who are going along, you know, girl, it's fine. You know what? Just don't go to the gym. Go do this instead. Whatever. You can do it next week. And like, again, I said, I'm not saying these people are evil, but it is kind of like it's people who are testing your boundaries. Like, are you really about what you said, the dedication to your spiritual path you said you were going to be about? Like, what is you saying that you're going to change if you don't come across a situation that never tests whether or not you just stick by that change, you know? Like we never get tempted. We never get that offer. We never get that offer to that party that you know is going to be full of people that are doing things you have said, you know what, I'm not doing that anymore. You know, when who are we if we say I'm not dealing with ancient dudes anymore, and then we have that person in our DMs that we know is an ancient dude, and they're like, come on, I want to take you out, or I want to do this, or we got that ex. It's Mercury retrograde right now. We got that ex coming back, testing us. You know, we got somebody coming in, or something that we see on social media that really tests us to be like, people really ain't shit. You know, or like to really go back on our compassion or our heart opening that we're going through. You know, like our dedication and our will and our focus is really, you know, it's coming up to test. Like the resistance is trying to resist, you know. And this could even be, you know, resistance within you. That's like, I don't want to change, or I don't want to do that, or I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll push it back, or I really won't get it done, you know. And Spirit is saying, no, start that project, do that thing, get it done, you know. It's kind of wild to me how this person, this woman that this man is drawing, kind of looks a little bit like this temperance angel. Yeah, Spirit is really saying that they want you to try to keep your thoughts pure. And obviously, I don't mean that in like a perfectionist type of like, you can't even think about it sort of type way. Like, don't start punishing yourself or doing anything like that. But they're like, you know, keep your thoughts in the positive. Keep your thoughts in compassion and understanding of not only yourself, but other people. And let's understand on this pathway, we're always going to come to moments of temptation to walk backwards, you know, that'll still be there. That no matter how at peace or in harmony that you are, you might always have people that come to try to test you. It's reminding me of a TikTok that one of my friends sent to me the other day that was about and in the TikTok, they told a story about the Buddha, and about how the Buddha was out in public giving a class one time in a lecture, and this man that didn't believe the Buddha came and started heckling him and calling him a liar, and he kept doing it and kept doing it, and the Buddha just kept talking and kept talking and kept teaching and kept teaching, and the man was like, finally the man like had a real explosion, was like, hey, don't you hear me? I'm talking to you. Aren't you mad at me? And the Buddha was like, well, when somebody gives us a really like special or like a really luxurious gift, and that person doesn't want the gift, is it ours to take back? And the man was like, yes, of course. And he's like, okay, well, it's the same. You're here because you feel some type of way, and the Buddha was like, you feel some type of way, boy. You feel some type of way, and you're trying to give that energy to me, but I'm not taking it. I'm letting you hold on to that. Right? Paraphrasing, of course. So it's like, you hold on to it. And you might have that situation, right? Even the Buddha, who was in all of this, had people really coming out, you know, so it doesn't matter how much in peace or how much elevation, you might still have people who are going to go up against you, who are going to be triggered by you, who are going to have something to say to you, or kind of call into question what you're saying, you know? And some people, you're going to understand the best thing to do is pay them dust. Okay? There's going to be some people that are going to be worthy of, I don't want to say, debating, but if you can have a civil, nice conversation with this person, but you're not going into it trying to convince them that you're right. You're just going into it to have a discussion, you know, a peaceful discussion. And you guys can be like, okay, well, you said what you said. I had my piece to say. Cool. You know, but for the majority of the time, it's really going to be like, pay them dust. It's really going to be, don't fall down that temptation hole to call people out, or to debate them, or to have to prove yourself right, or to prove your path to be the right thing. You might even have people, because I know right now we've been talking about the majesty and like the brilliance that's in the sacred pause energy, right? The sacred pause energy, where we are collecting divine knowledge, where things are happening etherically, or things are happening energetically when they might not have manifested fully into the 3D. And you might have some people that are just like, well, where's the money, or where's the praise, or where's you losing that, or doing this, or looking this way? Oh yeah, if you're so elevated, where's your man? And it's like, and you might want to clap back with being like, well, you know what? Some people consider my worthiness as a person isn't dependent on whether or not somebody else approves of me or chooses me or wants to be with me. But in that moment, just know, right? Like your individualness or whatever is like triggering that person. And just to understand that they're trying to throw that trigger at you, you know? And you might have people who are testing your boundaries. When you've set a boundary with somebody, or a boundary within yourself of saying like, I'm not gonna go down this road with this person because I know what they're doing, or I know what their intentions are, you know, or just because of what they've done in the past, like I kind of know how this person manipulates or uses emotional or financial manipulation to try to call something back to me or tell me that I owe them a favor now or something like that. So you might get in a situation and spirit is like, hold your boundaries firm, right? And sometimes your boundaries are, I'm not even going to engage with you. I'm not going to engage with you. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm not going to get in an argument with you. Like for some of y'all, like there's nothing more than these people want is for you to give them attention, for you to give them notice, you know? And like the best thing that you could do is just be like, oh, okay. And just walk away, you know? And if they want to be like, oh, you don't want to argue with me because you know I'm right, or whatever goofy stuff this person wants to say, whatever. You do not have to, you can just observe that and say, oh, I see this. I see this for what it is. I see it from beyond like, oh, why is this person coming at me? Or why are they threatening or whatever? You know, I can see, oh, okay. You know, you're trying to reflect something back to me. I got you. I see the lesson, spirit. Thank you. I'm going to move on. I'm not involving myself in this. I'm going to go meditate, or I'm going to go think about, you know, I'm going to go journal, or I'm going to go emotionally regulate myself. And yeah, especially right now with it being the Mercury retrograde, which we're in Mercury retrograde until like mid-August. I think it's like August the 11th or something like that. I think it is. Message of concern came out in reverse. Yes. Because a gift with message of concern in reverse, I also feel like this has come out to clarify this. I also feel like you are going to feel like spirit is gifting you because you are going to recognize like, oh, wow. You know, maybe a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago, you saying that or doing that really would have triggered me. It really would have made me step outside of my new character I'm trying to phoenix into, you know? But the new me can just peep what you're doing. Can just be like, oh, you having a bad day? I'm sorry. You know, or like, oh, that's unfortunate you're having a bad day. That's unfortunate. I don't need to commiserate with you. I don't need to get down in the dirt with you, but I also don't need to villainize you. I don't need, I don't need to paint you as this horrible, terrible person, but I also don't, like, I can see what you're going through, but I also don't have to overly relate to you or pull myself down with you or like share personal information with you. I can just be like, damn, that's really unfortunate that you're going through that. I hope things get better for you. Or not even say anything at all. You know, it just depends on the person. It depends on the situation. And I feel like you're going to see like, oh, I'm really maturing. I'm really going through stuff. I'm really like figuring it out. Oh, snap. Again, message. So, I just have to give y'all that message that some of y'all gotta be mindful of that, Gotta be mindful of that past coming up to knock kind of energy. You know what it is. You know what it is when the Mercury retrograde comes out. Okay. That did not come out for that. High Priestess energy here. I have the main female, but I'm being drawn to the number 2 on there. So it's giving me kind of like High Priestess energy. You have a deeper knowing, But I also heard I also accidentally said deeper gnawing. So you could have like this hunger, like the soul. We've been talking about that, like the soul hunger, right? This thirst to go towards something. But you also could be noticing codependencies within yourself that have created this type of, I need attention, or I need acknowledgement, or I need to go off the rails. I need to be emotionally dysregulated for everyone to see so that I get some kind of attention. You could really, if you know, don't take it right. If you know that you are working through that type of energy, or you're working through loneliness, or you're working through like toxic attachment styles, or whatever it is that you're working through in your shadow, Spirit is acknowledging that. Spirit is acknowledging that you are working on it, that you're thinking about it, that your higher self and your higher spirit guides are working with you to elevate out of this and to bring this temperance, harmony, peace, and balance energy. Okay? And that you are working on elevating your energy and pouring out this old, rotten, not too nice energy, emotional body. You are cleansing and purging things out of your emotional body. And Spirit just wants to say, I see you. I see you. And yes, confirmation, I'm assisting you at this. You know, and those thoughts, those clairaudient thoughts, or those, you know, those where you're just kind of sitting there, you're like, oh, I think I want to draw this, or oh, I think I want to journal this, or oh, you know, I really feel drawn to watch this or do this and take notes on it, or I really feel, you know, I really feel drawn to go educate myself in this type of way, even if it's not non-traditional education stuff. If you're being drawn to that, I really feel like reading that book and getting out my highlighter and highlighting, you know, and taking notes and doing that kind of stuff. Spirit's like, I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you going to those council meetings. I see you going to those, you know, AA meetings, or to those. I see you making those decisions to change your pathway. You know, I know that if I go my normal way home, I'm going to pass by the liquor store, and I ain't doing that. I'm taking another way home. Spirit's like, I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you trying. I see you elevating. I see you making those choices and those decisions for yourself. And I'm so fucking proud of you. I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you waging and making this your way through this shadow work. Okay? I see you having conversations, and I can feel you thinking of situations differently, when maybe in the past you would have been like, yeah, you were totally justified to go off on that person. And then now you're thinking, even if you don't say it out loud, you're thinking in your mind like, no, that's kind of messed up. No. When before you would have been down for the fuck shit. You know, and now in your brain, you're like, actually, no, you know, actually, no, I see that I need to be spending less time around this person, or I need to be being off to myself. This Spirit saying something here about you putting yourself out there into, you know, you're taking those classes, you're doing that education, you're putting yourself in more healthier spaces that your higher self is calling you to learn about different information, to go down different pathways, to put yourself in alignment with more high vibrational people. Spirit is like, I see you. I see you doing this. I see you doing this. Okay. Keep going down that path. Keep going down that path. Okay. Because Spirit is going to keep filling up that cup. Okay. You don't have, come on now. You don't have to stay in a situation anymore. But Spirit also wants to say, you know, that not only do they see you, but other people see you too, including the people from your past. And it might kind of be a little situation here where some people want you to drop that pinnacle to pick up something that might not be as healthy as you think that it is. And Spirit just reminded me of that. Do you guys remember that? I don't know. I guess was it a short or like a? It wasn't like a meme or anything like that. But it was like the shot where the young kid is like running up to his mom. And he's like, "Mom, they gonna get me. They gonna get me." And she's like, "Who?" And he was like, "The bugs." And she's like, "The bugs." And that's what I just heard. I just heard the bugs. So it's like this kind of situation where you might even have some people around you misleading you, or it might be this type of psychological thinking, this type of like, you're really starting to see when your triggered or wounded inner child is like, they're doing this, and you're just like, baby, those are just bugs. Like, it's not even worth it to act like that over. Or you're seeing it like, oh, these are just bugaboos. They just trying to bug you. Like, don't let them whack you out like that, right? Like, don't let them string you out. Don't let them make you crash out like that. Like, people aren't even, like, this person's not even worth crashing out over. It's not even worth, and I feel like you were seeing that. And you were seeing those moments, and Spirit's like, when you see those moments and you see yourself doing that, they want you to stop and be like, yes. Even if you got to do it in your mind, just be like, I see you, girl. I see you, girl. I see you, man. I see you, he, she, they. I see you doing better, choosing better. I see you just seeing something that in the past would have had you just furious. You might have walked around for the rest of your day with that heaviness on you. And now you're kind of just like, okay, girl. And you're just walking on, and you're genuinely walking on and being like, I don't know what their problem was, but it's their problem. And when you do things like that, Spirit wants you to go, oh my gosh, not me being mature, not me figuring it out, not me putting the pieces of the puzzle together. Okay? And Spirit wants you to acknowledge that. Okay? And the more you acknowledge that, the more you see that, the more you give yourself those little, hey, okay, the more you're going to be encouraged to do that, because for a lot of you did a lot of things seeking external validation. And now you are learning how to do those things and to have those moments where you're like, bitch, I'm proud of you. Oh, I'm proud of you. And to seek that validation from within and be like, oh, I'm so proud of us. I'm proud of us for doing better. I'm proud of us for emotionally regulating ourselves. I'm proud of us for not snapping on that person, or not saying that smart aleck remark, or not tolerating that thing that we used to tolerate. I'm proud of us for when somebody tried to cross our boundaries, we said, no. I see the excuse me. No. And Spirit just wants to tell you that, right? And that literally, just like that right there, before even when, because I would just be like, oh, I want to cuddle with him. Even though I would be like, no, it's interrupting my, he's laying on my cards, he's doing this. I'm not getting upset. I'm not getting like, anything. I'm just like, no, hey, baby, no. That very thing right there, okay? That very thing right there. Spirit is saying, seek that into, speak to these people, Spirit. 10, of course, this is the after tarot, so it shows what happens after, right? What happens after the 10 of Wands when you are setting down those burdens that no longer belong to you, baby? You are unburdening yourself. You are laying down the rest of those wands and saying, mama, it ain't me. You're learning those lessons. And you are bringing it back to self. You're bringing it back to that original. But you are starting those new cycles, praise. Oh, okay. Okay. I see you. Okay. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. Come on now. Come on now. Yeah. Ooh, that just gave me a weird energy. Because some of you, like I said before, are in divinely guided pauses. You're in divinely guided, like, hey, slow down, look around. You need to get this. You need to be put in this position for purpose, not for punishment, but for purpose. And the purpose is not punishment. You might have some people who are really trying to distract you or pull you out of that. Because we're looking at this, right? Look at that. It's a person hanging up, and here comes a person along, feeding them water. And you're thinking, wow, they're going out of their way to help this person who's being persecuted or something like that. But the energy of the hangman is, this is a divinely guided moment of pause. You are putting yourself all the way to the edge so that you can get a new perspective. Right? And here comes this person along looking like they're doing good. Like I said earlier, it might really seem like on the surface this person is just trying to show up for you, or they're just trying to be good to you, or they're trying to give you advice that they think is really from their heart, and it might be. But it's from their triggered heart. It's from their karmic heart. It's from their wounded heart. It's those people that are like, no, you're fine. It's completely normal that you absolutely cuss your boss up upside down. They never should have fired you for that. You know, that's absolutely ridiculous. F that person. We should go up there and slash their tires. When the truth of the matter is, that person was just doing what they should have done, because you never should have blown up on that customer. You never should have cussed that person out. You shouldn't have had your ex-boyfriend show it, and they had to be like, hey, I got to put this boundary down. You got to go. Right? And although it might feel good in that moment to have the person saying, yeah, you're the victim here. People are persecuting you. A real person a real one, okay, is going to call you out and say, I love you, but you kind of doing bullshit. And you really can't be mad at that person for just doing their job. Because what was you doing screaming and yelling and cussing and doing a thing at your job? Like, what? You know you can't do that. You know, and this is not about respectability politics, because it's not like that. You know, this is about you being a violent person. No, this is not, you know, and I'm not saying that any of y'all are doing that, but I'm just, you know, this is just an extreme example. And the examples of this that might be happening in your life might be minuscule compared to the very blatant examples that I'm using. Okay. But that's what I'm saying. That's this very energy. It's this energy of like, spirit wants you to concentrate. They want you to come to this conclusion, see it for what it is. Not all attention is good attention. Not all help is good help. Because some of these people that are here, okay, that are here giving you this water are the very people who put you up in this tree to begin with. They're the very people that was giving you these 10 wands to hold on your back to begin with. And now they want to come along and be like, oh, you're letting go of those 10 wands, or, oh my God, they tied you up to a tree. That's terrible. Oh, you forgot. Oh, you forgot you was one of the people in the back being like, yeah, hang him up. I didn't. And now you want to come back around now and be like, I'm so sorry. You notice that person doesn't have a knife and they're not untying them down from the tree. They're just giving them a little water. But also, this is also pulling double duty. Okay? Because this is also talking about spirit bringing you in that water, bringing you in that refreshment, bringing you in, and that is coming in the form of progress. Spirit is showing you progress, right? Look at the progress. See the change, and let that change that you feel inside yourself inspire you to continue down this path, because you are going down this path, okay? Oh, something is flipped. Oh, there's a couple of things that are flipped. Goodness. This has got a whole story in it. I can feel it in the cards. I'm not even going to engage with that, because like I can feel it. And I know this might frustrate you, and I think that's the energy here. There's going to be some people that have stories they want to tell you about how sorry they are. They see you doing better now. They're so sorry that happened. They're doing better. They're self-reflecting. They're moving on. They're doing that. And the person that I'm talking about here that's showing the story, ultimately they want your heart to be open. You know, they want to say, oh, you're healing, you're doing better. So that means that your heart should be open to me coming back in your life. You know, you're a more giving, compassionate, understanding person. So, you know, and I've changed now. So you should just forgive me and move on. And we should just let bygones be bygones. And I should just be able to stand beside you now that you're doing better. But the whole time they want to act like they weren't the one. Well, they weren't the reason that you were down on your knees to begin with. And these people might be wanting to come back around and say, oh my gosh, you're down on your knees. I see that you finally got up off of your face, that you've got onto your knees, that you're walking all down the road. Oh my gosh. Here, I feel so bad. You know, I was a part of that group who like circled around you and kicked you while you were down and spat on you and said, yeah, F you and the you know, F your B and the clique you claim. Yeah, like they was all out wailing on you. And then they left. And then they ha down the road. Then they start feel guilty. They start feeling ashamed. They start feeling haunted. You know, the guilt, the shame is eating them up. Maybe some karma came back and said, I got this size 82 boot. And it's going up your cheeks. Okay? And they've really been thinking real heavy. Because I'm literally seeing a spirit. And I'm seeing that I see this person sitting there. And I'm seeing this spirit like knock on this person's head. And it's like, like it's empty. But they're just like knocking on this person's like conscious, like, or it's just the guilt like knocking at this person's subconscious, like you really did this person dirty. You really owed them. You really were supposed to fulfill a contract with them or some shit like that. Thing is coming to light. Okay? But whatever was happening is inspiring this person to do their inner child work, and their inner child work is getting done. Okay? And the sun is shining on both of y'all so that both of y'all, you know, can elevate and do better. And for some of you, this person wants to look like the hero. Again, this person wants to shift the perspective and make themselves the hero. They were your persecutor. You were their victim. Now, all of a sudden, they want to shift around and be your hero. What you talking about? You was the one that punched me in my gut and threw me down in the dirt. Now you want to try to come back and say, oh, wow. Me pushing you down in the dirt really did you a favor, didn't it? What? What? Whatever. Whatever, though. Whatever you got to tell yourself. Whatever you got to tell yourself. The sun. Whatever you got to tell yourself. However you need to talk about it. Whatever makes your subconscious feels better. It's not on me to give you that closure. Especially since some of these people really ghosted off or left you and didn't have any closure. And you might have been like, can we have closure in this? Or you might at one point have been ate up with the fact that you didn't have closure with this person. But you had to pick yourself up. You had to carry on. You had to examine the cup. You had to see it was rotten. You had to throw it out. You had to walk 30 days and 30 nights through the desert and come, and come out the other side. And now you finally about to dip your cup in the spring water. And this person is like, man, I'm parched. And you're like, huh? What? It's like, wow, you look so strong. Look, think about that. Think about how if I hadn't put you in the gut and pushed you down in the dirt and hadn't pushed you off the horse and rode off and left you, you never would have gone these 30 days and 30 nights in the desert, searching inside, finding this, elevating. Now you're doing so much better. You're welcome. I told you this person is like, I want you to open your heart to me. I want you to be loving and compassionate to me. I want you to be understanding. I want you to be a child of God and have forgiveness in your heart, just like the Lord forgives all of his sinners, whatever. And at the end of the day, it's on you. Okay? Whatever you think is the passion between you. But I'm telling you, this person is like, wow, that's crazy. It's crazy that you chose a new path, that you chose to go down a road, that you chose to do the healing that you needed to do. And now you're this strong person. You're so much of a stronger person. Now that you're standing there in the truth, here they come. I don't know why I just heard that commercial. I think it's like the new like Venmo commercial where it's like, here they come, yo. Here they come. You can Venmo this or you can Venmo. Okay, that's all I'm saying, right? So I don't know if this person is going to message you. They're going to want to try to send you money. They might want to try to pay you for something. They might want to pay you for some type of services or something. I don't know. It's something like that where this person is like, now that I'm down and out, I need your help. And because you're such a good, elevated, strong, happy person who's doing well in life, you should give me this help. What did I say? Page of Cups. Page of Cups and the Six of Pentacles. This person is like, oh, I'm the poor beggar now. When you were the poor beggar, I wanted to just turn my head. But now that the roles have reversed and karma has come back and given me the good, what for? Now I want to come back and say, oh my gosh, my fish, it's out of my cup. I don't know what to do. And I just heard that part from the Disney animated The Princess and the Frog, where like the voodoo guy is like, won't you just take won't you just take my hand? Won't you just take a poor sinner's hand? You know? And then, but it's because he's trying to get him in a contract. This person could be trying to get you into some kind of covert karmic contract. Be aware. Be aware. Okay? This again, it's just what I've been saying. Like, this person's trying to get you to go another round with them. Go another round with me. Go another round around the karmic wheel with me. Stay with me. Don't leave me. Don't elevate me. Elevate from me, because that's what you're doing. You're going on this sacred path and you're leaving this person behind. You're going on this path. You were ending those toxic cycles for yourself. The sun has come up now. It's not just coming up over the ridge. The sun has come up now. And you are bringing an end to this. You are cutting your cords. You're moving on. And this person is like, don't. Exactly. This is your home. Don't leave. Don't change. Don't grow. Come back around. And of course, this is a general reading, so I can't say this with 100% certainty. But, however, this person is coming out as the Page of Cups, which lets me know, because this person, and for how many months has this person been coming out as the Page of Cups? They are still the Page of Cups. They are still mirroring back some type of cycle to you. And it's like Spirit saying, okay, have you learned this lesson? Do you still identify with the shadow aspects of this person that first created this contract with this person? Do you still identify with it? Or are you like, no, I'm sorry, I don't need that lesson anymore. I don't see that lesson anymore. I don't need to see that part of myself mirrored in you, because you don't mirror that. No, I'm growing out of these cycles. Like, no, I'm sorry, I just don't. I don't need it. I don't need your validation. I don't need you to come save me. I don't need you to need me. And this person is like, what's that song? I want you to want me. I need you to need me. Yeah. I want you to love me. Yeah. And see, you walking away is marrying back a healthy relationship to this person. As much as that might blow this person's mind, as much as it might even be like, oh, well, damn, to even you, because When somebody shows you healthy boundaries, they're showing you that. And in the past, you might have had people in your life that walked away from you like this because you weren't ready to see the shadow energy inside you. You weren't ready to face that. They echoed back, you know what, I got boundaries. I'm out of here. I don't have to stay here. And you might have been very F you, whatever, forget you. And you might have run back to this person and be like, can you believe this person was holding me up to standards? And they were like, I can't believe that. That's so BS. Who tries to do that? They're controlling. They're this, they're that. And now here you are in a situation where you're like, oh, I see what that person was trying to teach me. I see what I should have been learning from that person. And now I'm in the position where I am teaching through my actions of being to myself, keeping my boundaries. I'm not actively teaching, right? I'm showing somebody, no, this isn't healthy, actually. No, I don't have to tolerate this. No, actually, I'm not going to stay quiet about that. And that doesn't mean that I have to call you out, that I have to run your name all over social media. I can just quietly bow out. I can just stop talking to you as much. I can just take my time from you. I can see how my life is getting better and how I am not being pulled backwards into those cycles and how I am pushing myself and dedicating myself to growing, to doing better, to maturing, right? And Spirit is saying they understand that this might feel intimidating at first. This could feel very intimidating being around people that stand in that truth, especially when you're not used to standing in your own truth. You might feel triggered. You might feel like those people are like, oh, you think you're better than me. Oh, you think you're on your high horse. Oh, Miss Goody Two Shoes wouldn't never step out, doesn't ever do anything bad. I mean, and don't get me wrong, that can, that energy can step into more judgmental energy. It can step into more like holier than thou kind of energy. But I think that you are starting to notice that perhaps there have been situations in your past when people were just expecting more from you. And because you weren't ready to give them that, or you weren't in a place where you could, or you weren't in a place of maturity and self, introspection enough to see that, you were being triggered, or you were, and it's just like, you might have even been put into triggering cycles of, I'm not good enough, so I self-sabotage myself away from opportunities or situations, or out of situations where it's like, nah, man, they're just all uppity. I really don't fit in there. I feel like this, I feel like that. When sometimes it is a situation where it's like, no, you shouldn't be here. But sometimes Spirit is telling you, like, you could be here. You are worth this. And these people, they aren't trying to look down on you. They're just holding you up to a higher standard than you're used to the people around you holding you up to. When that job said, no, we're serious, we're going to have to let you go. Maybe that was meant to be a moment of you to reflect on yourself and be like, damn, I need to show up with my best foot forward. I need to really take this shit seriously. I need to ask I keep on telling Spirit, I'm ready for the elevation. I'm ready for the elevation. Are you? Can you do it? Of course the fuck you can. But are you ready to hold yourself up to that higher standard? Show yourself that. Show yourself, yeah, I am ready to hold myself up to a higher standard. I am ready to live in my truth and be authentically in that. Because see how this person, I was just about to say, see how this person has taken off their crown and they've laid it at their own feet and they've put the crown on truth, but they also have a crown on. But but it's giving me, this sword right here is giving me the feeling of like a mirror, And you are starting to see how there are people who are at all different levels of elevation, all different levels of self-expansion. It's not always about you being above other people or further along your journey than other people. You will also have people that walk into your life that are further along than you. And it is on you to have a good positive reaction, to do the work so that you can say, this is a moment where Spirit is asking me to step up my game. They're saying like, hey, do you see that this is a recurring issue for you? And it's something maybe that you need to fix within yourself. It's something maybe you need to work on, this dedication or this effort or this tendency to give up on yourself or to say, F it, whatever, and yes, it might have been some kind of maladaptive or some type of like situation that was mirrored in your past situations that your community or your family said, oh, it's fine that happens. Who cares? But when you're wanting to elevate, you're not going to be able to have that who cares attitude. You need to care. If you want other people to invest in you, you need to invest in yourself. Show up, dress for the job that you want, carry yourself in a certain light, and not in a false way, but in a way that is like, I care about myself. Not because I want approval from other people, but because I mirror that I'm healthy within myself. And when you do that, there is this kind of sense of like, people aren't going to intimidate you as much anymore. These people that you might see yourself as like, oh, they're doing so much better than me. Oh, they're so much smarter than this. Oh, they're so much further along in my path than me. Instead of seeing that as like an insecurity, allowing that to bring up insecurities, because it might bring up insecurities, but you're facing those insecurities within yourself. And you're going, oh my gosh, this is an amazing opportunity for me to learn from a person who's more learned than me. Be comfortable stepping into the position of the student. You are not always going to be the master. You are not always going to be the teacher. You are not always going to be the example. Sometimes you need to step back and realize that you need to follow somebody else's example. And feel comfortable with that. And understand that people aren't always trying to put you down or put you in your place. You might have really had some really negative experiences with authority figures, with people who were trying to force themselves on you or force their beliefs on you. So now you have this very like, you don't tell me what to do. I know what I'm doing. You can't tell me ish. You might have this kind of like, trigger inside of you that other people are trying to show out, or they're coming off as snooty, or they're coming off as aloof, or they're coming off as, I think I'm better than you. And some people are doing that, right? Some people are coming off as this aloof, but not everybody. Like some people, you're seeing things that aren't really there. Because what you're seeing in them is something that you feel like you're lacking in yourself, which brings up feelings of insecurity, which brings up feelings of being triggered, which brings up this kind of negative reaction. Sometimes we have to realize, sometimes it's us. Sometimes we're the heckler. Sometimes we're the person being like, oh, I bet they're thinking this, and I bet they're thinking that. You don't know what they're thinking. You don't know how they're feeling. And we really need to be able to have that strength to say, nah. This is that self-sabotaging voice that I have in my head that is coming from a place of my insecurities or from my triggers. And yeah, sometimes it is people projecting that onto us, but we have to also make sure that we're not projecting that, that we're not just bouncing that energy back and forth, right? Ooh, yeah, right? Make sure that we're going on that inner journey. Because there's definitely the shadow energy that's walking beside you that Spirit is like, be aware. Be aware of how, and also be aware of the fact that when your shadow energy does that, it's just doing that because in the past, that might have protected you. But Spirit is saying, in the halls and in the classrooms and in the, the business, in the business conference meetings and in the positions that they're going to be putting you in, you're gonna need to be able to face that insecurity within yourself, because like those rooms of those people, they're not really, they're gonna see that insecurity within you, and Spirit is saying like, hey, like you just need to step it up. You need to be able to listen to that and be like, this is not the voice of my intuition talking. This is my fear talking. This is my ego talking. This is my shadow self that wants to plop off at the mouth. No. you know? And I'm not always being untrue to myself if I'm not popping off at the mouth and standing up for myself. Sometimes I need to do things the gentle way, the quiet way, you know? And that needs to feel just as okay to me, to be able to quietly back out of a situation and be like, cool, I'm good. Yeah, because some of you might be going through a kind of like throat chakra awakening, especially if you went through a long time of your life feeling like your throat chakra was shut down and like you were silenced, or you were suffocated, or you were like made to be quiet, or made to not speak your truth, or made to be, you know, inauthentic for survival. You might have gone through like a really big awakening, which sent you to the other side, which was, I need to be loud, and I need to be opinionated, and I need to be, you know, it's reminding me of that reading that I did that was like, let them be loud and wrong. Like, let them to get triggered. That doesn't mean it has anything to do with you, you know. Or notice that inside of ourselves, like, is this a moment? Is this something inside of me? No. Yes. That doesn't mean you need to engage with that person. But it does mean sometimes, you know, spirit is showing us, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, Knight of Swords. Yeah. Because spirit says sometimes y'all really want to pop off. Y'all really want to do something. Y'all really want to come at people. And you could be feeling extra vulnerable right now. See how this person has got this shield and shaped like a heart? If you're going through like heart chakra opening, throat chakra openings, you know, you're stepping into your authentic self, you feel vulnerable. Okay? Don't let your shadow side come out and take over because you feel vulnerable. Yeah, don't let it step you back into old ways or to old mentalities. Also, you know, spirit is saying, hey, it's time to bring this to an end. It's time to bring this to an end within yourself. So let it go. Let it go so that your true power can, you know, your true stability, your true power can really show its, come on, can really show itself. Nine of Pentacles. So that you can have this level of self-sovereignty, of self-understanding, of self-actualization, a wholeness of self that says, I know when to, you know, I know how to regulate myself. I know how to be aware of my triggers. I know how to be aware of when it's like, okay. You know, it's reminding me of that that video that went around that was like a short that was turned into a meme where it was like when the therapy kicks in and like the girl, they're on like I can't even remember it. I've watched the show before. They do a lot of like reading Reddit stories and stuff like that. But the girl is like, that's not fair. She needs to. Okay, I need to calm down. And you can see the emotional regularity like coming out of her, but she's like, I really need to calm down. She like has this moment of like, no, I'm doing the most. Let me just. And spirit is like, yeah. And that's they want you to work on embodying that energy where, you know, where internally you might have that, but you know what? No. Queen of Wands, come on. Queen of Wands, come on. Stay in your strength, stay in your power, stay in your understanding. And understand when sometimes you are the person standing before the Queen of Wands, right? Sometimes you are the person that's on that Queen of Wands position and you are showing your strength and your power and your boundaries to other people. And sometimes you are that person standing in front of the Queen of Wands being reflected like, oh, there's the person, there's the next step up, you know? And instead of me getting intimidated, because I don't really feel like a anger issue really from you guys. I feel like I'm not as good as that person. You know, kind of vibe that could come from it. Like it's like this insecurity, and it's like, yes, you are. You know, like don't forget that lesson doesn't just apply to other people. You know, when you're the one in the Queen of Wands position, but sometimes there's other people that's in that Queen of Wands position, being a mentor, being a person who's highlighting those things within your life, and they want you to have the emotional regularity and the inner understanding enough to be like, I see it. I see it. I see it. I see it. I hear you, God. Okay. Let me look at this person. Let me study them. Let me see what they're doing, you know? And let me see how I can apply some of their techniques, put my own spin on it, and apply it in my life. You know? Well, how did that person get there? Well, what did they study? Okay, well, they did this and they did this. Okay, okay. And that doesn't mean you have to carbon copy, jump onto that person, but it can mean like, okay, well, you know, well, did you ever battle with you're like, you're very confident and you have a lot of, what helped you? You know, what helped you get on your confidence? What helped you get in your bag? What helped you get to the place where you are now? Well, I was reading these books and I was doing this and I was doing that. Okay. 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 Thank you. I appreciate you. You are a moment and an opportunity for elevation. Right? It is in those moments of uncomfortable, you know, those uncomfortable feelings that we have the most soul elevation to have in that moment. Where, you know, sometimes that uncomfortable feeling is like, get out of here, you're in danger. Right? And sometimes that uncomfortable feeling is you need to evolve. You know, you're in danger of staying stagnant and staying stuck in the past. Push yourself beyond it. See this as an opportunity to improve, to be inspired. You know, Spirit is going to put you in rooms. You don't ever want to be the most elevated person, you don't ever want to be like, I'm the smartest person in this room. Because that means you're not elevating. Right? You always want to kind of be in that situation where you are surrounding yourself with people who are doing better, who are, you know, more mature, who are pushing those, who are, you know, learning and pushing themselves, because they're pushing themselves to be in rooms where they're the student. You know? And so Spirit is encouraging you to do the same. Put yourselves in situations where you're the student and be quiet and listen and learn and integrate and elevate. Yes. And that, my dear, is soul expansion, is self-love, is showing up and saying, I understand. You know, I understand that I'm being triggered, or I understand that I'm being put in a certain situation here, but I'm okay. I can elevate out of this. I can do better. And it's not in a way where you're tearing yourself down or you're feeling sorry or feeling bad for yourself. It's just a situation where it's like, okay, I see the next milestone. I'm running towards it, you know? Quiet observation is very powerful for a lot of you. Pushing beyond this energy of feeling left out in the cold and being like, why don't I have that? You know, it's like reorienting from this kind of victim, persecutor, lack mentality to this abundance mentality. This is an amazing opportunity. This isn't God punishing me by blessing somebody else. This is an amazing opportunity to see somebody and to see their process and to see how Spirit's working through them and to listen to them and to say, oh, there's insights here, right? That's a change from lack mentality to abundance mentality. These are all opportunities for me to expand, not opportunities for Spirit to smush me down into the dirt. Lack mentality over to abundance mentality. And that's this. That's this energy here. Go over, you know, have this awareness of, damn, me seeing situations like that has been a fear inside of me. But I need to push beyond that fear. Because when I'm vulnerable and I'm open and I push beyond that, I'm actually going to see that these people aren't sitting there going, ugh, get away from me. They're actually going to be like, oh yeah? Well, I see you doing a lot. Yeah, I remember being there. You can do it. Keep going. You know, I did this, or I listened to that, or you know what really helped me out? This YouTube channel, or this, or reading this book. It really helped me. I don't know if it would help you, but you know, it really helped me. Or you know, getting into this. Pushing myself to expand, to never be scared to be the student, to never be scared to be faced with a situation where it's like, oh, I don't know as much as I thought that I did. Wow, what an amazing opportunity for me to learn more, for me to do more, for me to improve myself. Instead of it being a situation that pops my pride, that, you know, that gives me like ego damage, this is a situation to be like, oh, snap, I can do better. I can do more. There's more to learn here. There's more to expand. You know, I'm going to clean out this space from negativity and I'm going to create space for myself to expand. And that is love. That's self-love. That's self-understanding. That's soul growth. Is the world isn't always trying to take things away from me and beat me down. It's actually trying to give me opportunities. I've been watching, speaking of that, I've been watching a lot of, I don't know if you guys, I've mentioned him before, Tim Fletcher here on YouTube. If you guys have ever checked any of his videos out, especially if you know that you're recovering from complex post-traumatic stress disorder, you know, childhood trauma, anything like that that you're trying to overcome, especially around, like, I love the way that he sees a lot of things that you know, how the psychology of negative emotions, right? His psychology of negative emotions is always the fact that this negative emotion that you might be feeling, like fear or guilt or loneliness or whatever it is, right? The same way that when your body feels thirst or that you feel hunger, you don't necessarily think, this is terrible. My body hates me. You think, oh, I'm hungry. I need to solve that. I need to go get something to eat. I need to drink a glass of water, right? The same thing happens with these emotional states, right? It's really something that creates a negative feeling that is supposed to inspire us to do something to transmute that into a positive feeling, right? When I feel guilt, when I'm feeling like healthy, like regular guilt, it is for me to understand I've done something that my true authentic self doesn't jive with, you know? I've done something and I need to correct that behavior because it doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me feel good that I did that. You know, when I feel loneliness, it's because my animal instincts are telling me, hey, you're a tribal person. You know, your species is based on people who want to interact with other beings. So get out there and interact. However, when you have any type of trauma or whether or not you have some kind of PTSD or anything like that, you have like these maladaptive ways of dealing with these negative emotions. Maybe you really have a basis in false guilt where you were made to feel guilty for things that you shouldn't have been made to feel guilty about, which creates this association with shame, right? And shame is something that in general is not healthy emotionally, right? Because guilt is what Tim says. Guilt says, I feel bad for what I did, or I did something bad. Shame says, I am something bad, right? Shame is never healthy. Guilt can be healthy if you have a healthy relationship with that. But if you've been filled with false narratives, or if you've been trapped in a toxic cycle of false guilt and shame, you might not handle those types of emotions in ways where, okay, I'm going to step into my healthy masculine energy and I'm going to do something. I'm going to be inspired to do something about it, right? I don't feel comfortable here. I don't feel good about this. Let me not just sit in it and stew in it and fall into depression and think that it's all I'm worth and think that, oh, the world is never coming, you know, is never on my side. And then I get sucked into victim, persecutor, you know, I'm the victim mentalities. I never get anything I want. That's lack. You get stuck in these psychological traps of this type of lack mentality, right? And then you start having darker thoughts, darker headspace. You might get sucked down into depression, which just feeds this terrible cycle, right? This terrible psychological cycle of not being able to have healthy responses to these absolutely normal feelings, aka having maladaptive responses to these things. And then when we have that, and we have this tendency and this trigger to have this maladaptive response, when we are put in situations where we should actually feel guilty, we have a tendency to have a maladaptive response to it. Nuh-uh, it's not my fault. I need to escape accountability. Or nuh-uh, that person's actually the problem. They're actually persecuting me. It's not for me to take on that, because we're so filled up with this false guilt and this false, so that it hits this shame wound inside of us that tells us, oh my gosh, every single time that my dad told me that I wasn't worth a thing, oh my God, here I am feeling this familiar feeling of guilt. And that goes back to I really ain't shit, which triggers our ego and triggers our shadow to come out and to make us psychologically run away from that, because it's such a painful place. But when we have the power within ourselves to look at that, to go through it, to do that shadow work, to do that work where we're pulling out that false guilt, that false shame, that false sense of self, and we are learning to re-regulate our emotions. We are learning to pull ourselves out of those cycles of false shame, of false guilt. We start to see, actually, no, the world isn't this horrible, terrible place that's built to just knock me down. No, actually, when this tower moment came into my life, it wasn't because spirit was just like, nana, nana, boo, boo, get down in the dirt where you belong. It was because I needed to see that this foundation, that I was building a tower here on a foundation that was rotten. And again, like we say here on the channel, is it your fault that you were taught this? No. Was it your fault that you were hurt? No. But it is your responsibility to heal. And in taking on that, in being able to pull yourself out of your ego enough to go, it matters. It sucks that this happened to me, but what am I going to fucking do about it? I gotta do something to show myself that I care about myself, that I'm worthy of thinking better, of knowing better, of doing better, that I'm capable of pushing away toxic things, toxic mentalities within myself that inspire me to have connections with toxic people. I need to have accountability all the way 360, all the way around. And that is filling up this cup with a genuine type of love that for a long time you might have been dipping and dodging. Having accountability, holding ourselves responsible, holding ourselves up to a standard, being honest, being radically honest with ourselves about some of the ways that we might be manipulative, some of the ways we might tell lies, or that we might shift the blame onto other people, is all a part of having that beautiful, genuine self-love. Holding yourself up to the standard that you want to hold everybody else up to is a part of that. And we all have to be aware of how we play a role in that. And I'm not trying to victim blame at all. Because some of us had terrible things happen to us. But we always have to do what we need to do to show up to heal ourselves. And sometimes we have to realize that we are the anchor. Our old thought process, our old mentalities, things that are from trauma, or from bad, terrible, toxic experiences, or whatever, wherever it came from. We have to realize, okay, sometimes I'm the problem here. And that's okay. But I don't need to continue to allow myself to do this. Sometimes I am my own worst enemy. Sometimes that negative shadow that's like, it's fine, just let it sit there. Don't do anything about it. You'll feel fine without solving that or doing that. Just stay uncomfortable in the discomfort of this pain. Run away from the pain. Pretend like it's not there. Block it out. Run away from it. Distract yourself from it. get into get into relationships that are so dramatic, or put yourself in drama, or be the center of attention, or stay emotionally dysregulated. We all have those parts of ourselves that tell us it's fine, it's okay, keep doing it. No. And you're not a terrible person because you might have these tendencies to do that. But we do have the responsibility to do something about it. Because sometimes we have toxic shame that say, I'm a terrible person. And then, unbeknownst to us, subconsciously, we do things that fulfill that thought process that I'm a terrible person. Because then we start feeling guilt and shame about certain things. We have a subconscious belief system that we're not right, or that we're a terrible person, or that we ruin everything that we get involved in, or whatever kind of toxic shame distortion of your true self that you were taught, or that whatever happened to you made you believe about yourself. Okay. And we will subconsciously do those things that support, that's not the word I'm looking for, but that support that subconscious belief system about ourselves. I knew it. Another guy treated me like a piece of shit, like I'm worthless. I knew it. I knew I wasn't worthy of love, I knew it. I knew there was something wrong with me. Here I am, wilding out, doing this, doing that, checking their phone, screaming, showing up at their job. I'm emotionally dysregulated, and I'm making it everybody else's issue, and I'm making it everybody else's problem. Here I am again, running towards this substance, or this whatever it is, whether it be food or whatever. And it just compounds this feeling. And the root of it is that you need to go down to the subconscious part of you that thinks that you're not worthy, or whatever the shame is, and you need to unroot it from within you. And this is going to take time, and this is going to take energy, and it's going to take dedication, and it's going to take moments of you feeling anxious and you feeling fearful. But you are worth it. Bringing yourself back to your original self, you're worth it. To who you were really meant to be, to who you were before whoever piece of shit person made you feel like you weren't, or whatever trauma or whatever horrible thing that you went through, or whether or not it was just life kicking you over and over and over again that made you start to believe, actually, maybe I'll fuck this way, whatever it was. Whether it be in this life, past lives, whatever it is. This is about getting back down to that root and just pouring all type of compassion and understanding and love into yourself, and telling yourself the truth, no matter how many dozens of times you might have to say it a day. No, you are worth it. And I'm going to show you that you're worth it. No, you're not a terrible person. And we're going to hold ourselves accountable. And we're going to do those things that build up our self-esteem. And we're going to do those things on a daily basis that make us feel good, genuinely good about being ourselves, about being our authentic selves, about having peace in that. Yeah. Being aware of what's hidden in the shadow. Being aware of the illusions that not only other people cast onto us, but that we cast around ourselves. Even like to ourselves, the parts of ourselves that we lock away, the parts of ourselves that we pretend aren't there, the parts of ourselves that we're not that proud of, or the parts of ourselves that we should actually really be proud of, but we've been taught to be ashamed of. Shame is unhealthy and it's toxic. You don't need to be ashamed of yourself. You just need to do better for yourself. And if you need help to learn how to do that, reach out and get help. You know, if you need to read, if you need to watch videos, if you need to go get counseling, if you need to go to meetings, if you need to learn 12 steps, if you need, whatever you need to do it. You deserve it. Keep doing it. Keep showing up for yourself. You know? Tim Fletcher has a particularly really good video on toxic shame. If this is something that you feel like you're dealing with, definitely go check that out. And in that video, he talks about the healing process, and he says, you know, it can get really tiring because you will realize at some point that healing the shame wound is a lifelong process. That it gets easier, that it gets better. You know, and knowledge is power, and it helps you to understand yourself, you know. But to understand that you're worth it, you know. And you are a person that deserves to be nurtured, that deserves to be taught how to show up and do better for yourself. And you deserve to do that for yourself in a healthy way. All right. I know this is a pretty long video, but again, Spirit is really in this energy here. I'm just telling you, babes, like you're there, you're in the process, you're doing it. It might feel ugly. It might feel not good. You know, it might feel icky. It might feel like feeling discomfort, but it's okay. Push yourself through it. You're doing so well, and they're so proud of you. And baby steps, even if it's baby steps are still steps forward. Okay? And even if they're the tiniest little toe wiggle baby steps, just make them every day. Make them every day. Hold yourself to a higher, you know, it doesn't have to be some unrealistic jumping up 10 paces every day, you know, but just choose. Even if it comes down to just little individual moments or little individual conversations where you notice, hey, you know what? A month ago, a year ago, that really would have bugged me. But I'm doing better. You know, wow, I really see that meditation or that journaling or doing that is really working. So keep doing it. Keep holding yourself up to that, you know, I don't really want to say higher standard. I just want to say, you know, just keep doing you, baby. Keep showing up for yourself. Just keep doing it. Okay? Very proud of you. Spirit is very proud of you. They're acknowledging you. They see you, you know. They see, come on now, 919 down on the real-time clock. Come on now. They see you manifesting those changes. They see you manifesting those, you're there, right? You're there, and you're getting there. Because 10 is the end of the cycle, right? And they see you pushing yourself, learning those lessons, feeling your wish fulfillment, going towards independence. Keep going. Keep going. Okay? Very proud of you. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you also to your spirits, guardians, ancestors, masters, guardians, and guides for helping you through this, for helping you see through it. Yeah, it's your choice. Spirit just wants to say that. And it's brilliant. You're making those good choices. Keep making those good choices for yourself. And keep remembering that, you know, you have that power. That's the beauty. You might have felt so disempowered for so much of your life, but Spirit is showing you the lessons that are helping you to take back that control, to take back that power in a healthy way in your life, and to see like, oh my gosh, you know, I have the power now. And I have the power to choose to do better for myself. I have the power to show up for myself. I have the power. Nobody's holding me back. Nothing's stopping me. I just have to choose to show up for myself. I have to choose to make those better options. I have to choose to look at that phone and go, nope, not today. Delete, block. Okay? No thank you, old cycles. No thank you, old devils. No thank you, BS. I don't feel like engaging with it. And that's a powerful place for you to realize, like, oh, wow, like, I got the power. You know, I have that sovereignty. I have the willpower to do that. I might have felt so disempowered for so long, but now I realize it's in me. It's in me. I just gotta go for it. I gotta fight for it. I gotta stand up for it. I gotta show for it. I gotta realize that I got it. It's right here in my hand and I can take it. And I can use it to positively impact my life and to change the things that I am uncomfortable with in my life. Whew. That's powerful. That's a powerful place to be. Come on now. I really appreciate you guys as always. I hope that this gave you the love letter clarity that you're really looking for. Thank you to my angel spirits, guardians, ancestors, masters, high vibrational energies, and guides. Thank you so much for guiding me through this as well as keeping me safe while I did so. Comment, like, share, subscribe, do the things. Reach out to me if you feel like you are being guided to get a personal message from me or any of the services that I offer. I really appreciate you guys so very much. My contact information is listed down below. Hit the little arrow, pull down the box, hit the little more. And I will see you guys in the next one, okay? Thank you guys so much for being here. Bye!